to another episode of Beyond the Mat. I am here with my friend Ninos Yokhana, Gracie Baja Blue Belt under Professor Zeus and Professor Dan, helping on the mats and helping someone beyond the mat to the side of the highway. Anywhere you can, you're looking to help someone. And he is the CEO of Documenting the Excuses,
Yes,
which
sir.
he'll talk more about
Yeah,
later on
yeah.
as the time grows near.
As it grows, coming.
Welcome. Thank you for being
Thank you
here.
for having me, man. This is nice here.
I appreciate it,
I've
brother.
been looking forward to this for a while.
You know, I've been looking forward to speaking to you for a while. You know, with us training together so much at
Yeah.
Gracie Baja Peoria, I know some of the background of how you got here and why you got here. Now, you're originally from Iraq.
Yeah. I was actually born in Baghdad.
Okay.
Baghdad, Iraq. Spent the first 10 to 11 years of my life there. And you know how war is. During the war, grew up during the war. My family is all there. In 2007, my parents decided they wanted, migrate to the West, and America was on the line. America was pretty much their goal. And so in 2007, we had to move to Syria to claim a refugee status to be able to make it here. You can't do it in Iraq. So we had to go to the U.S. Embassy in Syria.
Mm-hmm.
So when we moved to Syria, it was supposed to be a quick thing, just go to the embassy, turn in your documents, show like, hey, this was going on in our home. Our house actually was blown via a car bomb. It was an accidental blow, but it was blown. A car bomb went off close to our house, and it, took out most of our house, and we had to. That was pretty much the last draw for my parents. In Syria, like I said, it was supposed to be quick, but it took us about 3 years. We were there for about 3 years until we finally got our visa, end of 2009, and we came to the United States. Man, life has been great ever since then. Nothing is like growing up in war, going through the struggles of war, and coming to a place where it's like no one's trying to take your head. I mean, there is here and there, but no one's trying to take your head. So you get the freedom and the ability to do what you want, chase what you want.
When you told me that you were there when the war was going on, I was so amazed by that. That has to be something terrifying, especially for someone that was 10, 11 years old at that time.
Well, it's crazy. It sounds terrifying, but when you grow up in it, you don't even recognize it, right? So you get used to it. You get used to the bombing, car bombs mostly, especially. That's what I remember mostly is the car bombs. Terrorism, killing. So you grow up in it, and it's a normal thing over there. So you don't really get to see the fear that's inside of you until after you escape it. So now that I think about it, I'm like, wow, it was crazy then. Mm-hmm. It was scary. But when you're over there, you don't really get to recognize that because you're used to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was I'm appreciative of it, really, because
of living through that.
Yes, because not a lot of people get to go through a struggle. So when you're born in it, not recognizing it, and you come to a spot where there isn't as much struggle. Like I wouldn't say there is no struggle. There is struggle even in America, the greatest country, but not as much as it was over there. So when you grow up in it and you come to this place, you're more appreciative of the things that are around you.
For sure. I know your age, and just looking at you, I can tell that you have this side of you that is very serious, very structured. Mm-hmm. Does that come from that, or is that just Ninos the person?
Yeah, that comes from a whole life of getting your ass whooped by your parents.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So you have to be disciplined in our culture. So being a Syrian, if you're not disciplined, you know what I mean, and you go to get married, and then the lady's father sees that you're not a disciplined person and stuff, they wouldn't give their daughter to you. Mm-hmm. So you got to build that reputation of yourself being disciplined, being serious, but also happy. You got to there's a lot of things in life where you have to take serious, but there's also a lot of things where, you don't have to take as serious. But that discipline does come from the culture. But also the happiness comes from the culture because my culture has gone through so much. Mm-hmm. So even in the worst times over here, you still see me smiling, see me laughing. I don't think I come off as a serious, hardcore guy.
No, and I'm not saying that, but I can tell that you have.
Yeah, it is within me, built in, which I don't know how to explain it, but it keeps me thinking of the future, of the possibilities of the future. Like, hey, there might be a time where the world will go back and we'll be in the same spot as we were in Iraq. So that serious part of me stays there, you know.
So you never lose sight of the road that
exactly,
you travel.
exactly. And I'm gonna be honest, like there was a time between age 18 to about 22 where I completely lost sight of it. You know, I lost sight of the sacrifices that my parents made to bring us here, the struggle that we had here. And, you know, I kept on getting in trouble. I got kicked out of my dorm in college and all of that, you know, just kind of was lost for then during that time, that period of time between 18 to 22, I would say. But then as I started getting older, I started recognizing like, oh, wow, I'm stepping away from it. So I had to bring myself back. But yeah, it's just, I believe that struggle stays in, you know, but yeah, man, it's
so just understanding and I don't know, I'm not well versed in your culture, but what I do know is the families are extremely tight.
Exactly.
Now going through what you guys had to experience, which I think is, you know, it's horrifying if you ask me. Do you think going through that together as a family is what keeps you guys so close and so bonded, or is that just who you guys are before and after?
Yeah, I think that has a big part of it. Because even before the war, a lot of the Assyrian families will stay together. Big families, they stay together because they have to survive together, especially the ones that live in the mountains. You know what I mean? Farmers and stuff, they all work with each other to provide for their families. So that's something, you know, the struggle, I believe, yeah, it does have a big part of it. And yeah, and I'm glad for that because my family, we're a big family. I'm 4 brothers. I'm the oldest of 4. And then, you know, my parents, and we're all together. We're all together. And then funny, a lot of people ask me like, oh, you still live with your parents? And jokingly, I'm like, dude, my parents live with me, man. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, since we came to America, obviously we were broke. Everyone's working. And then once I came of age, I started working for the family, you know, and my brother started working for the family. Because, you know, in America, you have to be a certain age to work. When we were in Syria, I was working at a barbershop, cleaning hair and stuff like that.
Did you go to school in Syria? Did you start going to school when you got to Syria?
Actually, in Iraq, I had to drop out of school at 4th grade. My dad made that decision because it was getting too crazy, right? So he dropped me out of school at 4th grade. When we went to Syria, we went back to school, but for a short period of time. And then my parents pulled me out of school again because also over there it was, at that time, Syria was safe. It wasn't as bad, but because we were refugees over there was a lot of discrimination against the Iraqi Assyrians that were there in schools and stuff. So they pulled me out of school. So for the 3 years we were there, never went to school. Mind you, I did drop out of school at 4th grade, but when we came to America, I went straight to 7th grade. I was supposed to be 8th grade, but I didn't speak English, so they dropped me back 1 grade. Yeah, they dropped me back 1 grade to learn English, and then just continued school from 7th grade. Went to high school, graduated high school at Greenway High School, played football all through high school, and then went to NAU for 1 year, made some mistakes, you know, had to drop out, joined the military, joined the Army Reserves, and started working ever since just to support the family, right? Everything was coming for the family. Like I said, when I was in Syria, I was working cleaning hair. I wasn't getting a paycheck. Tips was how I was getting paid. All the tips I would make, I would hand to my mother. And so still to this day, we all pitch in to one income towards the family, right?
That's a hell of a tool that your parents have right now, because when you do finally decide to go out on your own, you will definitely have the knowledge to care for a family and raise a family. Now it'll be up to you to do the right thing. Yeah. So I'm just looking back on some of the mistakes that you said that you made, you know, from 18 to 21. Were you more were you more disappointed in yourself, or disappointed in your parents, or disappointed in opportunity that was given to you?
For sure, disappointed in myself. Yeah, I connected myself with the wrong crowds. So yeah, that kind of manipulated me towards that route. And then, mind you, I was in the house, respecting my parents. So till 18, I would still ask permission to go out. You know what I mean? That's how we do it. Show respect for my parents, even though I know I'm an adult. But to show them that respect, I had to ask for permission to go out and stuff like that. In my culture too. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you know how it is. Yeah. So yeah, once I got that freedom at 18 to go on my own in college, I kind of took advantage of it, and it was all on me. You know, like I said, I lost sight of the past, and so and I connected myself with the wrong crowd, and then I took advantage of that freedom, and that's when I realized, you know, you gotta stay true to yourself, stay true to your culture, because culture is a really big deal. It's a moving factor for people's decision.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And plus, you're an example for your little brothers.
Yeah, exactly, exactly, and for my kids too in the future.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And like you said, this would be a great way for you when you move on your own and start your own family. I always tell people that like living with your family until you find that wife to build a home with is a good practice. You see how your parents are. You know what I mean? Like obviously there are some families that have issues with parents, and then you get to see the bad part of it. Like okay, I won't do that. You know what I mean? And if you get to see the good part of it, like in my family. Like I want my family to be like that, so you're getting that practice.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
That real life example.
Yeah.
Of watching your dad and your mother just lead the house, and you know everybody is successful in whatever they're doing right now.
Yeah.
I do want to go back to NAU, but I want to go back to the beginning. Now going through all of that in Iraq, what made you want to join the military after that?
Yeah, dude, I get asked that question all the time because everyone thinks the U.S. military terrorized us, but it really didn't. At least I didn't think so, right? We were saved a lot by U.S. military. When our house was blown up, Iraqi police came into the house and they started, you know, just going crazy at us, right? So we were one of the only Christian families in that neighborhood.
Wow.
They started going crazy on us. They started like setting up base on our roof, searching our house and all that stuff. Our neighbors started blaming us for the car bomb. And so it wasn't until the U.S. Marines showed up and they cleared the scene, they cleared everyone from our house, that we were able to leave the house and go to a safe spot. And even when they would do patrols to our city, we would feel safer. You know what I mean? Because there was a lot of
because of your religion or just because of the bad actors?
Bad actors, obviously, extremists that hated Christians over there. You know what I mean? We had a lot of great neighbors that loved us, but there was also the bad that had the guns that hated Christians. So we wouldn't even go outside to play because we knew they were roaming the city in Baghdad at that time. So whenever the U.S. military would start doing their patrols, their convoys and stuff like that, we'd have that time to, you know, kind of go outside, enjoy playing with our friends and all that stuff. So I believe the U.S. military actually helped us a lot, giving us food, MREs. Like I've had an MRE before I even joined the military. You know what I mean? So yeah, once we came to America, I realized how much, like, all the freedom that we have. So kind of wanted to give back. You know what I mean? That was a big reason why I joined the military. And obviously there are other reasons too. I was getting in trouble at school, and so the military was a good option to build that discipline back up, you know, go through that struggle again to recognize like, okay, you know, I had it good, kind of stepped away from it. Now I got it all set. I got to figure it out.
How did it feel going back as a member of the United States military to safeguard that region? How did that feel?
So I never actually deployed. So I never deployed. I joined the reserves because I wanted to stay close to my family as well, work and helped out. And it's funny because when I dropped out of NAU, my family was actually struggling financially still. So I was working at QT, and I needed something to, you know, help build that experience to be able to get a job where I could, you know, support them financially. So I joined the military as a reservist, so I could still be back home and work in a civilian job and be in the military and get the benefits of the military as well to support the family. And I'm very grateful for that because I just recently bought a house using the VA loan for my whole family.
Good for you.
Because we've been renting since we came to America since 2009. Just working and paying someone else's mortgage. So I just finally broke down January. We moved in. So that was literally one of the reasons as well, to be able to purchase the home for my family. And I'm proud to say this. I'm the first Yokhana.
I remember you told me,
being a landowner in America. And so more to come. But yeah, the military was great, man. And
do you wish that you would have went back?
I do. Yeah, I wanted to deploy back to the Middle East.
For what reason?
Just to go back to see it one more time. And I believe I have an obligation to go back there with the skills that I have, speaking Arabic, to help safeguard the good people over there from the bad. You know what I mean? Because my language skills could be used greatly by the military for that reason, you know, catching the terrorists, interrogations and all that stuff. But yeah, I just...
So it's kind of like a dual support, supporting the good people back home, and then supporting the United States that gave you an opportunity.
Exactly. And everyone, like, one time my dad posted a Facebook post with me in uniform, and he did get a lot of hate from a lot of people back there saying, oh, a traitor, you know, kafir, you know, like infidel. But I don't think I was a traitor, you know. Being in the U.S. military, the U.S. military really does help people. You know, everyone in the military, all the lower ranked people, you know, I'm not talking about generals or commanders and all that. I mean, it's, commanders, some of them like captains, company commanders and stuff, but the higher ups, the political part of it, I don't know much about them. But I know from what I've seen on the boots on the ground, with the boots on the ground, most of them, they don't hate people in the Middle East. They don't hate anyone.
Right.
They only hate evil.
Right.
You know, which is ISIS, Al Qaeda.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, that was surprising when I would talk to my grandma and I would tell them like, hey, you know, like they're not like you think they are. They really love you guys. They love Iraqis. They love Arabs. They love Iraqi food. They love tea, chai. They call it chai tea. But I'm like, yo, it's chai, man. When you say chai tea, you're saying tea. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, it was a great experience. I really enjoyed being in the military, and recently just got out, and right now I'm just, you know, working towards something else in the future.
So moving back to NAU, and right before college, you played football.
Yeah.
So that tells me that you had that toughness, that aggression, but then you moved to NAU and you spent a year there. You started judo as an elective. You started jiu-jitsu as an elective going there. Did you see yourself just wanting to have that martial art discipline ingrained in who you are outside of the other things that you do? Yes.
So like you said, football in high school. So I was a weak linebacker, and I was pretty okay at it. I was a smaller guy in high school, but I was a kicker, and I was actually a really good kicker. So I had plans to maybe play college ball as a kicker. And I got injured junior year. I pulled my groin. And so, you know, when I get injured, and this has been ingrained in me since I was a kid, like I would be injured, I'd be hurt, but I would still want to play. You know what I mean? So I didn't really take care of my injury, and I continued to play. And it just, my leg wasn't the same after that. I went to an ASU tryouts. It was like a trials to see who can make the red shirt team, which is you try out for the actual team.
Yeah.
And I went when I was at Greenway kicking, practicing. I was nailing 45, 50, 55 yarders easily. After the injury senior year, I go to kick. Man, I could barely nail a 30 yarder. I'm pulling a 40 yarder. So that was done, right? Because it was that time. I had too short of a time to regain that, and it takes a while to gain that strength in the leg to be able to kick a far field goal. And so when I went to NAU, and I was picking electives, I was like, you know what? This is my time to start doing martial arts. Because I love martial arts. I love watching UFC, boxing, kickboxing, and I would watch judo. People would make fun of me. I'm like, dude, I really enjoy watching judo. And so I saw they had judo. And so I joined judo. And man, that was such a life-changing experience for me when it came to martial arts. Because I thought, oh, you could just grab someone and throw them. But it's completely different. I was getting thrown by girls smaller than me. I was getting thrown by guys smaller than me. I was getting thrown by someone that's 60-year-old. And I'm like, man, I could fold him, seeing him in person, but it's different when they have the skill.
Didn't you tell me that before you could get to a next level of training or a next belt, you had to learn one throw?
Yeah. So you had to, there were certain throws that you had to know before each belt, right? So it's funny because like the first 3-4 months of judo, you were just learning break falls. So I never learned to throw until maybe second semester. So the first semester was all learning how to break fall. And it was great because right now I can get thrown by a 7-foot guy and I'll land perfectly fine. And it built that strength in my body, my bones and stuff.
Is it the same as our break fall?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. But it's more, so for example, my sensei at that time, he was like 6'5", right? And then he would hold his gi out. And then you had to sprint to him, grab his gi and jump as high as you can and break fall down sideways. You know what I mean? So it was tough at first, but then your body gets used to it, and it becomes part of training. It's fun, something you do, right? And second semester, that's when you started learning throws. So first throw obviously is going to be an Ippon Seinagi, a shoulder throw, a regular shoulder throw, and we went over that for
Professor Dan loves it.
he loves those Ippon Seinagis, man. And then the second one we learned was Taitosh, which is it's kind of like a shoulder throw, like a roll throw with the foot on the side. And then you learn Osorogari, which is the foot sweep from the back. Before you learn any other throws, you learn those 3 throws. And then, obviously I started as a white belt. And then their belt system in college was weird. It was white, yellow, orange, and then you get to blue. So yeah, before I got my yellow belt, I had to learn those. And after my yellow belt, then we started learning drop seinagi, tomanagi, which is a sacrifice throw, and all the other, a little bit more advanced. But yeah, you did need to learn certain throws and test for them before you move on to your next belt, for sure.
You're so well-rounded in jiu-jitsu, and I know because I trained with you. I trained in the same spot as you for so long. I noticed that you really don't use that judo as much as I think, if I had that advantage, I would.
Yeah.
Is it a reason why you choose to go other avenues?
Yeah. So in training, I try not to use it. I try to work on other techniques. I try to work on guard pulling because my guard pulling is not really great. So I actually did a private with Professor Zuza, and that's when I decided, okay, I need to work on things that I'm not good at.
That dude
right?
is a beast, man.
Beast. Literally, that one private with him, it brought my game a lot. So I wanted to work on my guard retention really bad. Seeing how much pride Zuza would take in his guard retention and not being able to pass his guard, I wanted that.
Not to cut you off, but someone was telling me that it was so against having your guard passed that some people would commit suicide.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Somebody told me that.
So it's kind of like a Japanese warrior type of thing?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, those Brazilians, they take so much pride in their guard. Mm-hmm. It's great, and it's admirable, right?
Yes.
Like you see it and you're like, wow, I want that.
Yes.
Right? So yeah, that's when I started not stepping away from judo. I still use it in competition. If you watch my competitions, I never pull guard. It's always a throw. Literally every competition I've had, I've always thrown my opponent with judo. But in training, I do guard retention just in case someone goes to pass my guard in competition if I end up in a bad position. For instance, when I did the Arizona State, I was fighting this guy named Armani, bigger dude. Because, I weigh like 168, 170, and I was fighting in the 190 division or 195.
You just wanted to fight.
I wanted to do the bigger dudes just to test myself. And I threw him, took him down, and I started to pass his guard. He caught me in a mean Ezekiel choke from the bottom. And he swept me with it. And now I found myself...
He swept you with an Ezekiel.
With an Ezekiel choke.
Wow.
And you know how it is. Your light starts dimming. But I'm pretty sure his hands got tired. And he let go. So I was glad for that. But yeah, I found myself playing guard. And he could not pass my guard. That's... Right away, I started thinking like, wow, all these years I've been doing guard retention, trying to play guard retention, keeping people from passing my guard. It's paying off. I did lose that match by a point, but I was really, really proud of my guard retention. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's why in training I try not to use judo as much. Now, against some guys that are good at playing guard pulling, stuff like that, then I'll use it.
Yeah.
I'll use it every now and then. Like yesterday I was rolling with Professor Dan, and with Professor Dan I use judo. And he's getting really good at judo. So it's been hard. So I'm testing myself with judo against him. But yeah, that private with Zuza, man, that's what moved me away from using judo in training, only on the training mats. You know what I mean? With my partners, and move away towards things that I'm not good at, which it was my guard retention at that time.
Do you think that you were becoming predictable, or you just wanted to have something else in your toolbox? Because I noticed you never... With me, when we're training together, you would try some throws, but you would see that I would get the upper hand on throws on you. Couldn't do shit after that.
Yeah, for real, exactly.
But yeah, I just noticed that, you'll see if you can step in and get it, but if you can't, you're not going to waste a lot of time on that.
No, exactly, yeah. If I know I'm not going to be able to get a throw, I'm going to go for a guard pull. But it's not going to be like a regular guard pull where foot on the hip and pull down. I just like to sit and draw myself into a butterfly.
Yep.
And start playing butterfly. And that's something I picked up from Professor Dan, and I fell in love with butterfly sweeps.
I did too.
Yeah, butterfly sweeps are beautiful, man. Just being able, like, because you're not using strength. It's just all leverage. And that's what's great about, having your hooks in when you pull guard. But yeah, if I were to, like you're a big guy, right? So it's really hard to throw you. Maybe I could get a foot sweep on you, make you slip. But if I can't do that, I'm not going to pick you up on my shoulder, over my shoulder. You know what I mean? Because you could easily just wrap me up, take me down, take my back. So yeah, that's when I would resort to a guard pull into a butterfly. And I love playing that with you because you have such a good base. You know what I mean? So it makes me test myself like, okay, a traditional butterfly sweep with the shoulder lock is not going to work on him. His arms are so long and he could just post. So I got to figure things out, right? And with you, after rolling with you the first time, that's when I realized, okay, I need to get my cardio up. Because I feel like if I could out-cardio him, I could start going for the sweeps, right? And, man, my cardio right now in jiu-jitsu, on the training mat, is different during competitions because of the adrenaline and stuff. I could go 20 rounds and not be... Like, obviously, I'll get tired, but I would recover real quick. You know what I mean? I went to an open mat with Queen Creek, Gracie Barra Queen Creek. And they actually had a bunch of cops over there. They did an open mat for law enforcement. Man, there was like 35 people over there. And it started at 10 and ended at 1. And it's round after round after round after round. Man, started rolling. I thought I was going to do maybe like 6-7 rounds. But I stayed the whole 3 hours and just kept on rolling. And so, cardio has been my next level. That's the next thing I want to start upping in my jiu-jitsu game.
I think that's where I need to focus as well with the other cardio. With big guys, it's such a struggle to get us down to the ground. And, a lot of the times when you do, you're tired.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to take breaks. I've been working on my guard pull as well, working from closed guard. Yeah. Because I think it's going to help me as I get older. I'm almost 50.
Man, you look like you're 20.
I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. You are an absolute monster on the mat. I would expect to see you compete a lot more. Is it the normal day-to-day, family is extremely important to you, so the normal day-to-day, does that keep you out of a lot of competitions? Yes.
So, because I work full-time, right? And a lot of times I don't even get off work on time to make it to training, right? And so if I want to I do compete like every now and then. I'll do a competition. I just recently did a fight to win, and I love doing that. So I'd want to do more of that. You know what I mean? Because it's, quick competition, one fight, and then you're done. I get to go home and start doing my other stuff. But yeah, man, I'm pretty busy outside of the mat, right? Full-time job. At the time, I was still in the Army Reserves doing that as well. Family, every day I wake up at 6 in the morning, 6:30 to take my little brothers to work or to school. And then from there, I got to come back home, do my own stuff. And if I have work, I drop them off and I go straight to work. And from work, I go to training, right? And a lot of times it doesn't allow me. And on my days off, I still want to lift weights. Because I do have some injuries, right? As you know, I have a torn labrum in my left shoulder. My knees are pretty messed up.
Which I'm surprised you're still training.
And that's another thing I would actually like to talk about, the shoulder injuries, how it elevated my game. But besides that, man, it's just a life outside with my family, my work, and my little brothers, and all the chores that I have to do. Buying a new house, I have to work, to pay the mortgage and stuff like that, especially how the economy is now.
Oh, man.
So it's kind of keeping me away from competing. And I think the money that I would put into competition, I would actually personally rather do fight to wins and stuff like that, where it's free, but you still get the whole experience of.
Is it free to compete?
Fight to win was actually free. And and then you sell tickets, so you get a percentage of the tickets.
Okay, I remember that because Kenton sent me the link.
And Fight to Win was a great event, man. I've never felt so much pressure in my life, because as a kicker, you're out there on your own doing the kicks, having that pressure, but being on TV. And people all watching you with the stage being a little bit higher and all eyes on you. There was a lot of pressure. So I'm glad I did that because, it was a great experience. And it brought me to a whole new level of thinking about competing. You know what I mean? Especially when it's such a big stage like that.
Well, cool. Brother, I really would like to see you compete a lot more. As I grow in what I'm doing right now, a lot of it is relationships and seeing people's experience and sharing people's experiences. So I would love to be able to bring you back and kind of update us on where you've been. I want to really touch back on the you know, the childhood part of it, because I think that shaped who you are, and I think you're such a good person. You're such a good human, which makes you look at life through a different lens than we could. You know, and the vision of this podcast is to bring out stories just like that of people that I consider my friends.
Yeah.
So I definitely appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you, man. This is great, man. I'm so happy for you, bro. Like I said, I was telling you earlier before it started, you have it. You have what it takes for this kind of thing, right? And you're still training. You're still training.
Yes.
You're doing this, and you got your whole life, right? And man, I'm so happy for you. I love the podcast. I listen to it at work, being in the truck. You know?
I appreciate that.
So when you posted the first episode, I'm like, I can't wait for the next and the next and the next. Man, God bless. And I hope nothing but blessings comes from this to you.
Thank you.
know
I
what mean?
appreciate that.
And I appreciate you, and I hope to see you on the mats again, bro.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. You know, one of the things that I really wanted to hear, it doesn't matter if it's 1 or 1 million people. If someone can tell me, you know, something that I'm doing to help them pass the day and learn new things or experience new things, you know, I'm doing my job.
Yes, sir.
Of course, I want to be rich, but this is so much fun. So much fun.
And I could tell you're having fun.
I am.
Man, I'm happy for you.
Thank you. I appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, Trey.
Until the next time, this is Beyond the Mat, where we talk about jiu-jitsu and life beyond jiu-jitsu, and we'll see you next time.